Welcome to another episode of OG55 this week on Disney YouTube with my good friend, my collaborator, Mr. Theme Park Conductor Chew. Chew is in the house with Bowser watching over his shoulder and Boba Fett to the other side. We are going to react to this amazing video from Dave from Fresh Baked. A lot to break down. This is some nerdy stuff. We're going to break it down. Me and Conductor up next here on OG55. Let's go. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. I got Mr. Conductor with me today. We've been doing a lot of great content lately, Conductor. We've had a few live shows together and a lot of great recorded stuff. But it's always good to have you on talking shop with me. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. It's so awesome to be on Orange Go 55 talking about the theme parks, aka Disney, because man, I don't know what it is, man. I think Bob Iger and Josh Samara, they love creating content for us, and we just report on it.
Oh yeah. Well, we got that. We got that sweet special access, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course. That's what I mean. But hey, that hairstyle you have tells it all right there.
I'm telling you. Well, I told you last night. I mean, this hairstyle doesn't come cheap. I spread this hairstyle out over several fiscal quarters. I gotta, I mean, it's not cheap, bro. It's not cheap. You got to spread that investment out.
Exactly.
But where can everybody find you on social media, Conductor?
Absolutely. And at the time of this recording, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, happy 2026, especially to me, because the countdown begins where I'm going to be at Walt Disney World and I cannot wait. But you can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and you can find me on Conductor Sunday live stream every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we have amazing guests like the one and only Orange Go 55 and so many others as we break down Disney and Universal news. And I'm also joined by my other two co-hosts, like OG says, Bowser on one of my shoulders and Bubba Fett on the other one, as we break down, we discuss, we talk rumors, speculation, and we get the chat involved, and it becomes its own amazing show. And I don't even have to go to a Disney park for that. So
Exactly. 100%. But yes, happy new year, everybody. At the time of this recording, it is not quite 2026, but we're getting there, just a few hours away. I want to wish everybody a very blessed and prosperous and healthy 2026. So, all right, Conductor, let's dive in. We got a great video from our good friend Dave over there from Fresh Baked. This video is called "It'll Be the Biggest Damn Thing We've Ever Seen." Disneyland construction 2025. This is from December 16th. Are you ready to rock and roll, sir?
I am. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Confirmation that the new parking structure is beginning soon, and it's going to be the biggest damn thing we have ever seen. Meanwhile, the Coco attraction has taken its next visible step. We're going to be walking through half of Anaheim in the pouring rain as we try to uncover the latest developments in construction projects at Disneyland. And we're going to start once more at the corner of Catella and Disneyland Drive. And as we approach that corner, I had heard whispers that there was a new development, a very visible development happening on Disneyland Drive. As we approach that corner, we can see that all the trees and everything are still there as we left them. But there it is. They've put up a fence. Now, I don't think this is the fence that was discussed in that permit we found a couple weeks ago. This is just to obscure view of what they're about to do. I don't think it has any other function in that regard. Matter of fact, the dimensions, if I recall, were different than what we're seeing here. But that fence does run all the way to that gate the mysterious gate that I don't know what that purpose that gate has, because you can't actually get anywhere from there. But yeah, and now it doesn't come all the way out to the sidewalk, which is interesting. There's a lot of square footage there where they're not being, obscured by the gate or by the fence. Not to suggest that they won't be taking that space. I do believe they still are, because we've got all these right-of-way indicators on the ground and et cetera. So there's definitely, they've marked their territory, as it were. And it does come, not to suggest that they're going to build all the way out there, but just that they are conscious of everything that's happening in that space to its right. And as we approach that corner, there it is. We can't walk. This is what we call this. I figured we wouldn't be able to walk down this street when they put that fence up. So cross the street we shall to the other side of Disneyland Drive to get a longer look.
And yeah, everybody, this is, to our Florida fans, out there, Florida Disney fans who happen to watch OG55. I mean, this is not an unusual sight for you all, the rain, but out here in California, the rain's a big deal. I mean, we don't get this very often. It's been a pretty wet season so far, huh, Conductor?
It has. It's been a very wet 2025 season, and I have to say, I know you Floridians would probably think we're nuts out here on the West Coast, but I'm just going to come out and say it. When we see construction walls like this, it's almost a rarity. Like we get rain out here, it's the same thing. So when we see walls like this, we get super excited.
Oh,
even though you guys are used to it over there.
Yeah, I know. It takes forever to build anything out here. It's crazy. At least lately, it's been like that.
That fence, and that's where we were just standing, and it does obviously extend quite a ways. That's the path that we would walk in previous weeks. We'd walk that path, and where we saw the paint and the right-of-way markings, the flags, etc., the ribbon trees, all of that will at some point be gone. Coming from the other direction, reaching all the way to Catella. This is the other half of the hidden Mickey as seen from above, which we're going to do a little aerial look at that in a minute. This, as we mentioned before in previous weeks, none of this side of the street has been marked or, checked for demo. So it's all going to be happening on the other side of the street. That's the edge there.
And that's a good amount. I mean, if you look at that fencing, I mean, that goes a long ways. I mean, if this is going to be for that Coco boat ride, I mean, this is even if you just account for this particular space with the trees, that's a good amount of land there.
Well, see, this is what I'm wondering, because that fence goes all the way through on that one side to one end of the street. What I'm wondering is if they put the service road, because obviously they're going to have a service road, they have to. If they're going to put it right next to where that green construction fencing is, what I'm wondering is, will they move the sidewalk closer in on the street and shrink the street on both ends?
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'm sure they'd have to work with the city to do that, but it wouldn't shock me if they have to make adjustments. So yeah, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting, because you're right. They are going to need a service road. They will absolutely need that.
Other Mickey ears, through those on the other side of those palm trees. And then there's the gate backstage. This is where I think they might be putting up another gate here in the future. Now let's take a look from above. And there's the corner. This is the corner of Disneyland Drive and Catella Avenue.
Okay.
We just walked up that path.
And this is what you were talking about, right, Conductor? The service road right here.
Yeah, so literally right where the sidewalk is on that street where it's fenced off, I'm thinking somewhere very close to that, that's where the service road is going to be reshapen in that area. But see, I'm wondering how they're going to do that without shrinking the street, because I don't think part of Disneyland Forward, I don't think they're closing off the street. Are they, or am I mistaken?
No, they don't have that street. I think the only street that Disney got was Magic Way, I believe. Okay. I think that's the only one, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so Magic Way. So I would guess that they'll probably still keep this right side a 2-lane, But that left side where you can kind of see it goes from 2 to 4, they're going to have to reshape it. So that means they're going to shrink the street to possibly put that service road in. That's the only way I can see it.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not thinking of it right, but
No,
because
it's gonna be an interesting fit in there for sure.
yeah, because we've all talked about it. You know, any new attraction that comes to the resorts, it always you always see this massive, ginormous show building. No matter what new attraction comes, it's always that way because of what they put into the attraction needs so much space. So I would imagine, wow, this is going to be interesting.
Very interesting. This is gonna be a fun project to keep an eye on for sure because of how they're gonna finagle all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
These are the trees in this space right about here that were not, that were not marked off, fenced off, but that fence does run this entire length. This is, from across the street. We were on this side here looking at things. There you could see the hidden Mickey right there, right side of Mickey's ears, left side of Mickey's ears. And we do expect all of this to be cleared out. And the objective is to move, I think, this is pure speculation on my part. I'm just trying to understand if they're going to take these trees, it's because they want to grow that space, right? They want to make backstage a little bit bigger. There's not a lot, to be honest. There's not a lot of space here to be taken. As you can see, this curve right here is just, a matter of 20, 30, 40 feet from the sidewalk. So it's not like they can take a large chunk. It's just enough to sort of nudge things into another direction. So we're expecting this service road to perhaps come, because they still need a service road. As far as I understand, it's necessary. All of this is necessary for emergency services and other backstage type stuff. You need this road for many purposes that you can't just take it. You can't just take it and not replace it somehow. So the idea, I think, is that they might try to nudge this street in a little bit closer, which would be difficult to do. Now,
I think this Mickey ear is gonna go away. That service road is gonna come all the way to the end here, and this is gonna go away almost certainly. Is that kind of where your head's at, conductor?
yeah, I think so. But that middle part scares me though, because that is thin.
It's thin. Yeah, right down here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. This is gonna be crazy.
now that I think about it, because that would make this turn very difficult. If they were to straighten that out, how do you make that right turn in there if you're going to go through that backstage gate, the one that we were talking about that might be replacing? So I'm a little bit wondering like just how much of this they can take, but nudge things this way so that they can take these buildings and push them back a little bit further to create just a little bit, a fractional more amount of space here for the Coco attraction. It is still unconfirmed, by the way, which of these buildings are going to remain and which are going to be demoed completely. I heard a while back that one of these, this one here, was going to be the one demoed, but these would remain just moved somewhere, replaced, basically. I mean, I guess they still have to demo it to some extent.
Now that's interesting. Now I could be mistaken, and people at home or conductor, if you know, isn't this building right here where the parade floats are stored?
I think so. Okay, so I think what it is, that big long building is the parade building. The other two are either for tech services, or I think they might be for the food carts that we see in DCA.
Oh, like the ODVs?
Yeah. I don't know what that far building is though. Is that Toy Story?
Yeah, this right here is Midway Mania, so that's staying.
Okay.
That's going to stay for sure.
Okay.
I could have sworn this one right here is the parade float, which is kind of,
I think it is.
Yeah, and if Dave is hearing this one is going away, that is very sad because that would mean the parades are likely not coming back. And again, like he said, nothing's confirmed, but that would kind of point in the direction of parades being discontinued at DCA, unless they figure something else out for that. I don't know. I don't know.
You have to.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But you still need the services that these buildings provide. I believe this is the ODV building, which is, that supplies all the outdoor vending or is, the home for all the outdoor vending carts that you see throughout the park. Popcorn, pretzels, churros, that kind of thing. But with that fence being installed here, we can start to, or we should assume that they're going to be they're about to start doing major demo along these streets. We'll hopefully be able to see some of that from the ground. I'm not sure how much we will be able to see. There will be views available from the Pixar Place Hotel. These are courtesy of Critter Club. And I may have to scout this building at some point, but there are views to be had from I don't know if this is from a room or not, but street team, if you're staying at the Pixar Place Hotel, my apologies if you are, because I joke because it's like the third best hotel, of the three, and you're a mile from the park practically. But anyway, if you are staying there and you have a minute, snap us some photos and send them to our app on freshbakepresents.com, where you can share pictures of things that you have found in the park. Like this photo from CM1208. He took this photo, I'm assuming from the Pixar Place Hotel. And that's a great view. It's a great view. And hopefully we'll be able to see something like this. Freshbakepresents.com, guys. If you want to share your photos of what you found, that's where you go. And we will share them here in our construction reports. So that's the latest from Disneyland Drive and Coco. Let's get into downtown Disney for a minute to just check in on some of the ongoing work there. It's like I mentioned, it's a rainy day, so we didn't hear or see any kind of construction happening. So we'll just take a brief tour around the site to see what the latest is. Looks like they're getting ready for some sheathing there, and progress is happening on that side. Not so much that we could see. I mean,
and I'm just glad that Earl's is finally getting a permanent spot. It's been like 3 or 4 years, or maybe even more than that. I don't even know how long it's been. Maybe since the Pandy. I've lost track too. But it's good that they're finally moving into a spot. I mean, it's very popular. I mean, everyone loves Earl's, and it's great like snack food for like the park. You can grab one of those sandwiches. You can throw them in your backpack. I mean, it's super convenient. So it'll be great for them to finally settle into a permanent home instead of living out of that trailer thing that they're doing right now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's well covered by scrim. As usual, we can't see anything on the front side of Earl's. There you can see Lululemon. Just to remind everybody, the Lululemon is open. It opened last Friday, and obviously it is still open today. Lego store has been, this has become kind of fascinating to watch the evolution of that Lego structure that is evolving. We've got some photos also from the street team. These are from, I'm going to assume that's Arizona Basist. That's an over the wall look. And you can see that there's more of that green flame coming up around that castle turret that the prince is standing on. And you can also see that they've been working on that flooring, the concrete flooring, for a while now. They're still working on that. It makes me wonder if it's more complex than your average, if they have something else planned, because it should be pretty simple to replace that concrete. But that's courtesy of Arizona Basist. Let's head over to the former Earl of Sandwich, soon to be Porto's. Nothing to report here. Again, we're too early in the.
Now, just an update. Since his recording this is like a week and a half ago, or something like that. You brought this to my attention, conductor. A bulldozer went through and demolished at least one of those ticket booths, right?
I think one of them, or at least half of one of them.
Okay.
The rain is kind of throwing a hissy fit with construction, because obviously you can't do demo in the middle of rain.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, it was kind of crazy watching them go in there and just rip that thing off. It's this whole area, this whole little side of downtown Disney, kind of, and this little part of the Esplanade is going to change dramatically with this new Porto's. I'm very, very excited. It needed a refresh for sure. So
definitely
in the too early stages of things to be able to see anything demo. Not that we'll be able to see anything from the ground. I still have not been able to find any sort of visible access to see what's happening there. So let's get out onto Harbor Boulevard and check in on the Eastern Gateway. That is the the new parking structure that they're building, that they will be building over the course of the next probably 2 years or so. We're right next to Tropicana. We've been coming out to this little stretch for the past couple of weeks to check in. There was some paint on the grass there, and there's some paint through the fence. This is where they're going to be building the bridge. At some point in the future, you're gonna take a bridge right across that street over, I assume, over the monorail track and into what is now the transportation hub. But we're going to take this walk a little further. We've gone back out to Harbor Boulevard, and now we're going up Disney Way. This is that street where we saw them working on, the below grade stuff, for electrical. And it runs all along here, all the way to the parking lot. This is the parking lot, the future home of the Eastern Gateway project. Now we're here because Disney has confirmed we have a permit. They have a permit, not just because there's many kinds of permits. Some are very small. We're going to install, a sign. We got to file a permit for a sign. This is not a permit for a minor electrical change to change the router or the cooling unit or whatever. This is to build. This permit is to build a new commercial construction, a 3,257,394 square foot, 8-level open parking structure, core and shell.
Wow. And
then they're going to install 302 EV chargers with limited mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. When this is supposed to start happening is still, up for debate. It's not confirmed. It doesn't say we're going to start building when. There was reporting that it was going to start building in fall. I kind of think that, well, it depends on what you define as building. We're talking about, shovels in the ground, vertical. What are we talking about? I think they're going to start, the visible work is going to start much sooner than that. I think it's going to start perhaps as soon as February after the Run Disney event. The Run Disney events are held right here in this parking lot. So that's confirmation that we're about ready to get underway. Let's keep going.
Now that's exciting because that Eastern Gateway is the puzzle piece to a lot of these projects, We definitely can't dip into that symbol lot for any kind of expansion without this Eastern Gateway. Now there is some debate. We've talked about it. I think on last night's live stream with Leaving Today podcast, there is some debate with Avatar. I'm not 100% certain, in my opinion. I'm not like a construction expert by any means, but I would, when it comes to Avatar, because they're doing that whole Hollywood, most of it is Hollywood land, but a little bit of it is going to dip into that busload area.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me personally, I feel like they could find like an acre or two somewhere nearby, like a temporary spot for the buses if they really wanted to. Like, I don't feel like the gateway is 100% needed to do Avatar, but I could be wrong on that. And, that's just a layman looking up from the outside in. But anything symbol lot, I mean, that's a for sure. Like, we need the Eastern Gateway, get started. Go ahead.
Well, personally, there's some I would like to see, if they wanted to start building Avatar, like you're saying, what's one expansion slot for Disneyland that's obviously not going to be touched until the symbol lot's touched? That's Lilo and Stitch. You can temporarily move the bus load and unload right there. And you have a security checkpoint right there where people can go through. Bingo, you fixed your problem, because as soon as they build the Eastern Gateway in this 8-story parking structure, they have a video out there somewhere, and I wish I could find the video, but it shows concept art of this parking structure. It shows that it's going to have the bus load and unload area. It's going to have a place for Ubers and Lyfts to pick up and drop off. And it's going to have its own security area where guests are going to go through before they access the Sky Bridge to go over harbor into the Esplanade.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Now, one thing too that concerns me, I'm curious your thoughts on this too, Conductor, before we continue with the video. It's been, like we said at the top of the video, it's been a really rainy season out here in California.
It has.
And we've already seen Disney kind of drag their feet with our construction projects. They've been moving along with Florida. I think likely because they're trying to compete with Epic Universe, and there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency over there in Florida right now. Out here in California, though, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of urgency, right? And now on top of that, we got a ton of rain. Like as of this recording on the 31st of December, like I can even hear the rain like outside. Like it's raining again. That's going to slow down. I mean, if he's saying that this is going to start construction, this gateway structure in February, which is historically a pretty rainy month for California. If we do get rain, that's the month that we get a lot of it. I mean, that's kind of like the worst time to start it, right? Because then we're gonna have a bunch of rain. It's like,
well, I think this is what I think, that this is one of the things we have going for this project right now. It hasn't started yet, so it's still asphalt. So digging that up is not going to be a problem. The only problem I see that's going to further delay it is if we get rid of all the asphalt and then continuous off and on rain. If we could get to a point where they could build the foundation, they can run all the conduit and at least build the first level out of the 8, I think we would be in a lot better shape. But if it's going to be this off and on thing, and like you said, February is a very wet month here in Cali.
yeah.
It's gonna prolong it even longer. But I'm gonna tell you this though. The, I don't know. I've seen construction happen, in rain. It's really like I don't know. I kind of feel with Disney and out here in Cali compared to East Coast, I don't feel like they really have all their ducks in a row. They overstep their bounds by announcing things and saying, "Oh, look, we have a permit, we have this, we have that." But
Right.
then when we think they're going to start it, they delay it, or something happens, or Mother Nature kicks in, and they're like, "Oh, well, Mother Nature kicked in. We have rain. We can't touch nothing." It's like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Hey, everything stops in California with the rain. It's crazy.
I
It's wild. It is absolutely wild. I actually did get an email, and one of the things in the next maybe in a week or so, maybe for the next construction update or something like that. But I got an interesting email from a subscriber of the channel.
Okay.
Yes, he's in this. He does construction. I'm assuming based on his email.
Sure.
He wants to come on the show with you and I and kind of talk about some of the stuff. So definitely in the next week or two, we'll have him on, all three of us, and we'll kind of go through some of these videos and break it down with him, because I'm very curious too. Like, I don't know much about construction and what the limitations are. I mean, I know they can't really pour concrete in the rain. That's probably something you just can't do no matter what it is, no matter where it is, but I'm sure there are other things they can do in the rain. But I like to bring him on and kind of really break this down with him. It'd be kind of fun. So yeah, look out for that next couple of weeks or whatever,
We last week we saw in the car that black and white checkered thing. I just wanted to put eyes on those myself, get on the ground, get with the camera in spite of the rain and check everything out. There's that one there. And if I'm not mistaken, there's another one. Yes, across the street. There's another one over there. Look at that rain. My goodness.
Jeez, man.
Holy Toledo. Okay, so we're going to turn left at that corner and head towards the rear edge of that stretch on the way to where Liz was last week. And we're just going to stop and note that paint, red paint, orange paint, blue paint, it's everywhere.
And see, this is where when we bring the construction guy on, he can go through this with us and he can basically interpret what all this means, like the T, the orange dots, the whole thing. So it'd be very fascinating to kind of hear his perspective on that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Along this sidewalk as well, this walking path, there's some paint on the bushes. This is a stretch that we did not look at last week when Liz was on the ground. This is a stretch that's on the other side of that street, which we'll get to now. So we're right across from Suncoast, I believe, the Suncoast Hotel. And this is where, across the street there, that's where Liz was last week. And this is where we found these paper signs, which are very similar but different. That's D09. And then over here on the opposite side of the street is D10 for the black and white checkers. That's the one that Liz saw last week. And then again, all kinds of new paint. We're going to walk down this street for a little while to observe some of the other paint There's that black and white checker.
So weird.
That is one of the entrances to that parking lot. It's actually split in two. It's bisected in half by a very large building that I believe that building over there in the right of frame sort of separates the two halves of the parking lot. We'll get a look at that building in just a second. But where we are now is basically the far right edge of this space. And that's where cast members drive in to park. And what I want to show you is that little alleyway right there. That stretch of parking lot that's the other side from the Harbor Boulevard, where we're looking through the gate and the grass and the paint. That's where that is. That gate is on the other side of that, of those buildings.
Wow.
To give you an idea of sort of the scale of what's happening here, all of that is going to be parking lot and more. You can't even see the whole thing from here. Twice as big. I had heard a while back, like a year ago, that this is going to be one of the biggest parking structures ever made. And then I had heard after that, maybe not. But I don't know, man. I think it's 8 stories. I'm trying to remember what I read. 8 stories and twice the square footage of the Mickey and Friends parking structure.
Oh my God. Twice the square footage of Mickey and Friends. Mickey and Friends is a beast, an absolute beast. It's going to be double that?
I guess so.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. And, you and I, we've heard this before, like what Dave was saying, like this is going to be a monstrous parking structure, but it's really going to help out a lot. I think it's really going to help out a lot, and we need it, especially if they're going to take out that symbol lot. I mean, where are you going to put people? So
exactly my point.
Times. So, which I guess it's still bigger total than even Mickey and Friends plus Pixar Palace, because Pixar Palace is not the same size as Mickey and Friends, if I'm not mistaken. Slightly smaller, I think. So 8 stories and twice the square footage, and they're going to put that in this lot. It is going to be amazingly big, and it's going to prepare us for the next generation of Disneyland expansion, Avatar, Coco, Disneyland Forward. I mean, this kicks that off. We can stop. I mean, we've been waiting for, I don't even know how many years it is now. 4 years since they announced Disneyland Forward? 5?
Jeez.
I don't know.
Well,
it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. And it's been, I think it's been 2 years since it got approved, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was approved. Well, I think it's almost 2 years. I think it was May of 2024, I believe. So we're coming up on the 2-year approval. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, we thought that this thing was we thought they were going to start this stuff like once they got the approval. And here we are, a year and a half, almost 2 years later, and we're just barely getting started. And this is what you've been frustrated with for so long, Conductor, is just a snail's pace with all this stuff at Disney,
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I mean. And I don't mean to beat a war drum here, but it's like, and everyone that I know of can attest to this. It's I don't mind the theme parks charging what they charge, but you have to show return on the investment. And if there's no return on the investment, how you expect people to justify it?
Right.
It's
Exactly.
like for real.
No, you got to, I mean, look, if they're going to be asking for the price that they're asking for, like this Inspire key and stuff like that, I mean, and that's what I was saying. I mean, we don't even have anything new. Like, I mean, no. Like this past year, we did like highlights from, on the live stream last night, right?
Sure.
Like the highlights of 2025. I'm like, I couldn't even think of anything for Disneyland Resort. Like nothing happened. We didn't get any new rides. We didn't get nothing happened. It was such a nothing year, but the prices went up so much this year with the passes. It's crazy.
And the prices went up across the board. I think the only thing we got was the new entrance gates for Disneyland DCA. And we got 2 new restaurants in downtown Disney. That was their justification.
Yeah, no, it's just, hey, it's not worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze,
Nope.
And it's still going to be a while still, because it's going to take at least a year to build that thing. If I recall, it took them about that long to build Pixar Pals. It took about a year to build Pixar Pals, so maybe a year and a half. Because they're doing more than just build.
And you know what? Real quick, big shout out to Dave.
Oh.
This guy's out here all the time doing these construction updates for all of us. Number one. Number two, out here in the rain. You know how hard it's been raining lately, and this guy's out here walking these streets with like 14 jackets and an umbrella. I mean, shout out to Dave. Go ahead, conductor.
No, as we're talking right now, because you guys can kind of see it off in the distance of my screen, I have a window right here, and I can literally hear the rain. That's how hard it's going right now, and that's what we're watching David do when he was filming this. It's like, I don't know, man. Because it's one thing to film construction updates. It's a whole nother animal and beast to sit there and film it in rain like that. So I commend David for everything he does for all of us.
Yeah, no, 1000%, man. Like you and I were talking like last night, like, hey, should we do Universal today? Remember, we were talking about it. And you and I were like, nah, we're going to stay home. We're going to stay dry. We'll just do an in-studio video or this, that, and the other, right? Yeah. I don't want to drive in it. I don't want to be in it. I don't want to, and Dave's out here walking these streets with this umbrella and all this. I mean, it's crazy. And really, like, it has to be said that the work that's put into this stuff and doing this in the rain, not easy. So yeah, shout out to Dave. Awesome.
So I want to add one comparison just so we kind of get where we're at here. Because I Googled how big the ET parking structure is at Universal, because that thing is humongous.
Right.
So the ET parking structure is only 5,000 spots, and the square footage is between 1.5 million and 1.6 million. And this parking structure is going to be 8 stories and 6,000 parking spots.
I'm telling you, this thing is going to be a beast, an absolute beast.
Building a structure, they're also building, the transportation hub and things like a bag check. I think they're going to put bag check here. I know that was one of the debates about the original Eastern Gateway project. They wanted to extend the bubble out here into this parking lot, which meant that there would be no access to the street. Once you got in the bubble, you went straight over the bridge and into Disneyland. And so all that traffic that might have gone to those harbor businesses was going to be cut off. Not to mention the fact that anybody staying at those hotels had to go around the backside of the building, it was a huge walk from, let's say, I don't know, the Best Western. You had to walk all the way down harbor, make a left on the street coming up here, Disney Way, then walk up the length of Disney Way, or half the length, into the parking area, and then go through bag check, and then walk back across the street. It was quite arduous, and it actually, it doesn't make a lot of sense. As a guest staying on the street, you lose a lot of that luxury. So give guests away. That's the improvement.
That just popped in my mind is, okay, so if they go with the original concept like David's talking about, and like I mentioned with the bus load and unload area in this new parking structure area for the Eastern Gateway, they have security there, they have Uber and Lyft drop off. For the people that are staying on Harbor Boulevard at those hotels, this is what I think is going to happen. I think people that are just visiting for the day, they're going to park in the Eastern Gateway parking structure, and they're going to go through security. The sky bridge that's going to go over harbor is going to be totally enclosed on both sides, and it's going to lead right into the Esplanade. But there's going to be a public access for people that are staying at the harbor hotels, and it's going to be to the very far right, towards Tomorrowland, the backstage area of Tomorrowland, and there's going to be another security checkpoint for people that are staying at those hotels, so they still can get access to that area. But it's going to be to the very far right, so it's going to be right to on the right side of this pedestrian bridge.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're going to have work something out with that, because I believe that was a huge sticking point for a lot of these businesses. And, you know, a lot of those hotels and motels on that street included, right? They're going to want their customers, their guests to have access, easy access.
Sure.
So there's going to be some kind of option here for those people staying 100%. That was a massive sticking point like 5 or 6 years ago when Disney wanted to do this originally. And they got a lot of pushback. So I think they've worked with the city now and those businesses to make sure that that's included.
Here is that they may be giving guests away, staying on Harbor Boulevard to just go directly into, have a second bag check, the one that exists now, basically. So there would be an opportunity to do both. Want to take a minute before we continue to thank our sponsor, Getaway Today, our preferred travel affiliate, the best dang travel agency you're going to find out there in the Disney community. They are focused exclusively on theme park travel, Disneyland, Disney World, Universal, cruises, Alani, all of that. If you are looking to make a trip, plan a trip to our park or any other, I strongly encourage you to use Getaway Today. They are the nicest, kindest, most intelligent, thoughtful, well-advised group of people you're ever going to meet. A beautiful family-owned company, and we love them, and we encourage you guys to take advantage of their services. And I hope you guys have a great trip. So now we got to head back, and I will point out here that I didn't show this before as well. There's so much sidewalk. It all looks the same, but I promise you, we haven't seen this before on camera. Lots of painting out here as well. I'm just spotting everything. We're across from, I think we're across from Garden Walk at this point.
I tell you though, if it was Mayor OG 55, we wouldn't. There'd be no sidewalk, no roads. It would be all expansion space, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, are you kidding me, bro?
I'd come in there with the bulldozer.
Hey, Mark and Udi from Leaving Today's podcast found a street name after you. So I don't know, man. That could be the first sign right there.
Absolutely, Mayor OG coming to town.
More paint there. Yeah, that's the parking lot to our right. That gravel stretch there. We're going to look at an overhead in a minute to show you, give you some reference. Paint everywhere, and then to the right actually is the parking structure. Let's take a look overhead at that parking structure.
Oh, man.
The lot
Huge.
that is going to hold that parking structure. There is that dirt or gravel stretch, that the Disneyland Drive that we walked up at the beginning.
Good
there
Lord.
is the parking lot. That's that building I was referencing before that bisects this lot. And then that's the other half of the parking lot. Disney owns all of this, right?
So
This right here is the stretch where we're just walking.
What's the deal with that building? What is that building?
That's a great question. I was actually going to ask you the same thing. I don't know actually what that is. Disney owns the property, and I believe they bulldozed and built that, didn't they? Because wasn't this like a hotel initially?
I don't think so. I swore I heard it was a building to do with custom enforcement.
Oh, really?
I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. But I'm not sure what that building is. But if that building is gonna stay like that, it's gonna be interesting how they're gonna build this massive 8-story parking structure around that.
Yeah, I mean, it would. Yeah, you would have part of it here, right?
Yeah.
And then there'd probably be like, bridges that go across here from side to side, and then the other half of it will be here. I mean, I could see it working, but that would kind of like, it takes up a good chunk though, for sure.
It does.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what that is. Oh, you know what? No, you're right. This right here, this little stretch right here was, I believe, the Carousel Inn, which was they bought that, and okay, so that was bulldozed.
Yeah,
that was Disney. They bulldozed it. Yeah, this thing though, I don't know. And you're hearing it's customs enforcement or something?
I heard that as a rumor. I don't know how true that is. So I'm not sure, but that thing is right in the way. What a weird spot to put that.
Right, it's right there. And then what? Mark from Leaving Today podcast last night had a great point. And for those of you that didn't watch that live show, make sure you check that out. It was a great show. But here's the 5 freeway, right?
Yeah.
How is everyone going to get to this thing? I mean, it's going to be kind of crazy. You were saying, right? Like in here, probably like using these two streets, I guess. And I guess if you come down, I mean, maybe there'll be like an option on, I don't know. You can't really do a harbor option because I think this whole spot right here is going to be the sky bridge, right?
Yeah.
The footings for the sky bridge and that whole thing. So I guess you'd enter through here, I would imagine.
No, 100%. That's what
You-
I would guess. I don't know how they're gonna do this. I wonder. God, I wonder. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do this. I'm kind of like stumped because I know I said last night they could probably maybe either take Disney Way, the off ramp from the 5 that currently exists, or that other street that's literally right butt up against this area where it's going to be the parking garage, and expand it. But you can't really do that unless you dip into the parking spaces, because you
Right.
can't go the other way because you have the Sun Coast Hotel right there. I don't know
Right.
how they're gonna do this.
No, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see it all shake out for sure. And that's like the cool thing kind of about the Disneyland Resort projects. There are a lot of question marks. I feel like a lot of the stuff going on in Florida is very cut and dry. We know exactly
Yeah.
what's going on, very self-explanatory kind of situation going on over there. Out here in California, I mean, the Coco ride, I mean, there's a lot of question marks with that, how they're going to fit that whole thing in there, and the parade building. Are parades going to come back at all? You know, Avatar is a whole can of worms. That's a massive can of worms, like how that's going to work out. This parking structure and everything. So while it's frustrating to have all these question marks, it's also kind of fun for like the nerdy folks like us, because it gives us something kind of cool to speculate and talk about, you know. So
Definitely.
yep.
Just showing you all the paint and the black and white checkers. The first black and white checker that we saw in this video was right here. Then we looked across the street, there was one right there. And then as we went up the street, the other one was right here. And then this little intersection right there is where we saw the two paper ones. There's a paper one here and a paper one here. So this is the area, this is the stretch that they are flagging with those black and white checkered things. And then all the way down this stretch that we walked, this is that gate that I showed you where cast members pull in. We were looking down this stretch, and then that is that alley that has been created when Disney tore down. There was a hotel here as well.
Right.
They tore this down years ago. That is the alley that is going to create the opportunity for a bridge to be built that crosses the street, which we showed you with the overheads last week. This looks like, from the ground and from the aerial, this looks like a huge, huge space. And as we mentioned, 8 stories, 3.2 million square feet. That is an impressive, a really big building. But what about the actual physical space? How much acreage is this using? So I checked that out. This is, I did a little acreage measurement from Google Earth, and I didn't even include that stretch, the dirt gravel stretch. I didn't even include that. Let me bring that into frame, actually. There's that gravel stretch. I'm not even including that in my measurement, and it's 2.369, or I'm sorry, 23.69 square feet. I mean, God, good golly, 23.69 acres, which is an impressive piece of land to be building a parking lot. Very impressive size. Now, so much so that I'm wondering, like, that's got to be bigger than Mickey and Friends, right? No.
What?
Here's Mickey and Friends. And I almost couldn't believe it. This is Mickey and Friends here. This is the Pixar Palace parking structure that they added, and this is the tram drop off, etc. right here. 29.27 acres. That's considerably larger than the site being planned for the new parking lot, even though the new parking lot is going to be bigger because they're building it up. Right. They're going to build it straight up, 8 stories. Incredible. Now, I've got an animation. You may have seen this before. This is something that Disney made years ago.
There we go.
When they were first planning to build the Eastern Gateway. The scene you're looking at now, that's the dirt path that these guests they're making a left, and they're going to be heading into the structure. I'm going to assume it's going to be at least similar to this. The resultant building that they build, the Eastern Gateway. But where these guests are right here, they're coming up from that dirt path from the corner of Harbor and Disney Way. There you go. There's that corner. This is the corner that we've been, watching the current construction projects happen. For the electric. That's the dirt path right there. So that's where they're building that. There's the dirt path as we look at it today, right? So they're going to walk up these. These guests would have had to, in this old setup, would have had to walk around and make a left. We talked about this in that on-camera shot that I did back there in Manchester. It would have been quite laborious for all of these guests to make this trip from the Camelot Hotel or from Tropicana or something like that. I would have been so upset, because from the Tropicana, you're across the street. Now you've got to make the longest possible walk to get into the parking structure. So hopefully whatever new plans they made have, remedied that possible problem. So they're going to walk in. This is just the guests that are walking in. There's also guest parking. They're going to go into a giant transportation hub that's going to replace the hub that exists today in, at the Harbor Gate.
Yep. There
is. There is that transportation hub. You see some buses, some taxis.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll look a little different than it does here, because this is, like Dave said, this is very old.
Yeah.
But honestly, the current bus load unload area is extremely ugly. And I'm sure whatever they're going to do on this side will look a lot better. But this is crazy. This is a massive, little area, right?
Oh yeah, it's so massive. To be honest with you, I know it's going to sound stupid. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Everyone loves their Starbucks. You could probably put a Starbucks in this area right here before people go on the Sky Bridge. You imagine that?
Oh, they should take an opportunity to do something like that, whether it be like a Starbucks, like actual location, or maybe how they have that Joffrey's coffee cart at DCA over by San Francisco.
Yes.
You could have a Starbucks, maybe like a Starbucks cart or something, or you can have you can do a lot of stuff, man. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. It's a great idea, conductor.
This is massive.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Green space. This kind of reminds me of what we saw in Bricky's video with Disneyland Paris. There's a lot of green space.
A lot of green. I love to see it.
They're giving you an indication, and the guests are going to walk through this little area. There's going to be bag check here, and then up here, that's the alley where they tore down that hotel. That's the alley that guests would walk through if they want to walk in and take the bridge. Oh, here we go. The animation is going to kick in. So there's bag check. And then right here is where you approach and enter the covered area. And again, I'm going to assume it's going to be at least something like this. I don't think they're going to go too far off. We're now in the alley. We're approaching. That's Camelot on the right and Tropicana on the left.
What was that, conductor?
I honestly don't think they're going to shy too far away from that concept art, even though it's old. I really don't think so.
I think the general layout and the design will be the same. A lot of the aesthetics, I think, will probably be different, just because they've moved away from that look. Because that look is kind of downtown Disney, like the old downtown Disney. But I agree with you and Dave on that. I mean, I think the actual layouts and the way things are sort of placed and all of that stuff, 100% will be very similar.
I think one thing I would like to see, I'm going to see it when I'm out there in March, is the electric walkways that Universal Orlando has. The what do you call them?
The little moving walkway.
Yeah, to kind of usher people in a little bit faster.
Yep.
Because I could see people complaining, and I understand, because I would complain too if I didn't, because a lot of times people don't want to walk as far, and I can't blame them. So that'd be an easy way to fix it.
No, I agree with you. And actually, I think Disney should look at Universal Orlando for a lot of things, because Universal Orlando just opened up Epic Universe and 2 resort hotels. It's like that whole Epic Universe area is like its own little mini resort, separate from the main Universal resort. And it's not directly it's not connected to the main resort. There's a drive, it's like a 10-minute drive or something, like a bus ride, right? I think Disney should look at that and what works and what doesn't, because we're eventually going to get a third park out here, and our third park ain't going to be across the Esplanade like it was with DCA. It's going to likely be that Toy Story lot, which will be some sort of transportation thing. Yeah, Disney should look at what Universal does over there with whether it be Epic Universe and how they've been handling their transportation, or even like with, like you were saying, like moving walkways and things like that. So we'll see. I've never been to Universal Orlando. I was down there like 2 years ago, but I didn't go to Universal. Next time I'm down there, I will definitely hit Universal up. But I'm very curious when you get back. I want to pick your brain on that because I'm very curious your thoughts on all that stuff.
Definitely.
And there I am. I'm pointing that out right now. There's the alley that we're in. Camelot on the right, Tropicana on the left. Those two hotels will still be there, and you're going to walk right in between them. And as you come out the other side, there's the bridge, and that's Space Mountain right there. Although that doesn't look like our Space Mountain. There's the bridge from, I believe, the other side, and there's Harbor Boulevard.
Yeah.
Here's a look on this animation.
And Disney's really good because we've seen them do this with Downtown Disney. Disney is really, really good at like soundproofing and making you feel like you're not on a bridge.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really, you walk across that Downtown Disney bridge, which starts where the Jazz Kitchen is, and it ends roughly where like the Lego store is.
Yeah.
That whole stretch right there is bridge. And you really wouldn't know it. You don't really hear anything. It's very closed off. So they're pretty good at that. I'm assuming the Sky Bridge will probably be something very similar, but we'll see. But this is also a busier street, though, than Disneyland Drive over there. So, it might be a little harder to block it out.
From Harbor Boulevard, there's what used to be Captain Kidd's. That is now Kalakamamas. And as they walk forward, the Best Western, jump forward, Tropicana. And then on the other side of the bridge will be Camelot. There's the Camelot. We just stayed there last week. I hope you guys checked out that video. We just stayed in that hotel. It was delightful. What they're trying to do here is to show you that, hey, there's still access. This still exists. Panera, McDonald's, all that still exists. But a little less so if you don't give people access to that bridge or from that bridge, which is an issue that I don't still know exactly what their plan is. Maybe stairs down to the street.
Yeah.
But then how do you get... They have to be one way. They have to be down only. You couldn't go up those stairs because up those stairs would be inside the bubble, unless they don't have a bubble back there. That's a possibility. All that what I just showed you with respect,
and I believe they confirmed it with the artwork that they released a few months ago. But the security checkpoint is going to happen on the other side of this bridge, because if you do it before you hit the bridge, then you got to lock the bridge down, because you can't go through. Well, yeah, you would have to. Yeah, you have to lock the. Yeah, because then you can exit the bridge and then go back up after security, and that would completely make the security thing pointless. So there's going to have to be a security thing at the end on the other side of this bridge, right?
Well, okay, so there's two ways they could go about this. So the way I mentioned earlier, where they have a bridge like they're going to build, and then people staying on the harbor hotels, there's going to be another security entrance right next to the Sky Bridge that's going to drop off in the Esplanade, and it's going to be to the very far right. This, on the other hand, I could see it going two ways. The one way where we're looking at concept art right now, the second wave is you can still have this concept, but to the very far left, you leave it open with no security, and you build another access to harbor somehow. So that way, if they want to enter, if they want to park in the Eastern Gateway parking lot, which is fine, but they don't want to go through the bubble just yet, and they might want to hit McDonald's or something like that, they have another pathway to get to harbor,
right,
that doesn't involve the security bubble, and then people could do that and then walk across the street and access that secondary security bubble or security zone to the very far right of the Sky Bridge, but people that park at the Eastern Gateway that want to go through the security, they'll have in their own little esplanade here to the very far right and be led to go into on the bridge to the esplanade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a possibility.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's a challenge for sure. And
back to the bag check and all that, could possibly be no bag check. We could still be outside the bubble at this point, and they have the bubble completely on the other side of the street.
Right.
Looking at the concept art, it's possible that all those guests coming down that bridge land somewhere where there is some bag check happening down, near the top left of that frame.
So right where the Disneyland marquee sign is, if you go kind of towards the left, you can kind of see this thin kind of wall. I don't know if you see that.
Right here.
Keep going up, like to the right though.
Oh, you mean over here?
No. So where the D is on the marquee sign, go right above that. Literally right there. See how there's a wall right there, and it's kind of following the path of the bridge.
Yeah,
I think that wall is going to divide the people that went through the security bubble at the Eastern Gateway, and everyone else is going to have to go through security over here.
That's a good point. Good observation. That's a very, very good observation. And I wonder too if is this thing right here? Is this gonna be stairs or something? This little
I think it's stairs. I do think it's stairs
or elevators or something.
I'm just not. I'm not sure how the hell they're going to do that though, because if they do decide, the only way I could see this is like you said, OG. They don't build the security zone at the Eastern Gateway. That's the only way that thing can exist, because you can't do it any other way because it's technically connected to the bridge. So how in the hell is that going to work?
So we have the bridge here.
Yeah.
Then everyone goes over, and then there's like this turning, this like kind of turn, like you can see how it turns right here.
Yeah.
I wonder, okay, so this one maybe you can go down the bridge, but this is where you get off to go and visit the Harbor Boulevard stuff. Maybe that's what this is. And see, you kind of bypass the security if you go down this way and you go down the street. But in order to get to Disney, though, you got to go through security checks.
But see, this is what I'm curious about, though. If they do that, anyone coming from Harbor towards that area
can walk up the bridge.
Yep, and they bypass the security. So the only way I see that happening now is right where the monorail is. You can kind of see to the left of that, there's that wall again, if they enclose that whole area off. So the only way people can exit this staircase looking type building from the bridge is go down and then around to the left and then go to where the harbor is. And then if people want to go back in, they have to go up and to where the marquee sign is. That's probably going to be a security zone right there, but they can't go back the other way towards that structure.
Yeah, there's got to be something that, they I'm sure they have I know they have a plan for that, but it's going to be, I'm just glad I'm not in charge of figuring that out, because it's all kinds of crazy. But here's the thing too, the Sky Bridge conductor is going over the monorail beam. I mean, that's gonna be crazy tall.
It's gonna be high as hell.
That's wild.
That's probably the most logical scenario, but this is now, that's that bridge that you're seeing there with the pink. That's the bridge that is going to be running from across the street from the new parking structure. So that is the latest on the Eastern Gateway. Incredible that we're about to see this all happen, that we're that close to the beginnings of things. And as I mentioned, I feel like this is possibly as soon as where we can start seeing maybe things getting closed, initial demo, land clearing and that kind of thing. I mean, I don't see why not. Why wait any longer than they have to? Let's go. Let's start this thing after that Run Disney event. We're going to go back out to Harbor Boulevard next. This is that intersection where everything starts in that animation. And we've been watching on Monday, I was on the bus. We showed you those videos on Harbor Boulevard of the orange barriers being set up. I was on the bus and saw those barriers again and was able to get a look over those barriers. And there you can see that grayish concrete there. That's all new. They dug everything up and have replanted the concrete. So whatever they were doing with respect to electrical is done as far as that little section goes. And they're trying to provide more power, more juice to the park to supply the Avatar land, the mini land for Avatar. Back this week, and those barriers are now gone. That's that space we're looking at now. And you can see those barriers are done, which means they're done here. There it is. There's that new gray concrete there. You can kind of make it out through the rain a little bit. And it's like in two sort of rectangular sections. There's that. And then there's another section here. You can see where the crosswalk used to be. They're going to have to repaint that crosswalk. So that part looks to be done. And I feel like they're going to keep moving all the way down. That project will keep moving all the way down Disney Way until you get to wherever it is that the power is being supplied, which is probably all the way on the other side of Manchester. We'll keep an eye on that. But for now, let's get into the park. Let's get on the Pixar Pal Around. Let's take a look at the future site of Coco. We're looking again backstage. It actually looks fuller now. It looks like there's more stuff on the streets than there was before. And that could be because they're bringing stuff out of the building, actually.
What was that, conductor?
It just what David said. It looks like they're filling up that space out there because they're clearing out the buildings one by one.
Yeah, 100%. Filling in all available space. Was that a cast member reference there?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Please fill in all available space. No, no, but absolutely, it does look like they're really moving on this thing. There's a lot of activity now.
And then we'll try to look left. That's the ODV building. Trying my best. It's difficult in this rain. I can't tell you how wet I got in here, but there it is. I mean, again, I don't see a lot of action there. Trying my best to, because it gets obscured by the.
Again, Dave is an absolute unsung hero doing this. Like, I don't even go on this ride on a nice clear day. let alone in the pouring rain. I mean, this is rough. This is rough. So he's doing it for us. So I just want to say thank you, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
Incredicoaster as we keep moving. But that looks to be about as we left it last week. We'll turn our gaze eventually to Avengers Infinity Defense. Still working on the truss system. We have not, and there's no action today because of the rain again. So we're just going to kind of give you a visual of the latest. But they're still working on building that truss, the roof line there. You can see it on the ground.
So when we looked at the concept art and we saw where the truss system is going to be for Stark Flight Labs, and then next to it you got Infinity Defense.
Right.
You see how it's kind of rounded off to the left there. I wonder if they're going to add more steel beams going towards Guardians. I wonder if they're not done yet, because that kind of seems like it's off.
Yes, I would agree with you. And honestly, the building, like the whole complex, I feel like, at least for the Infinity Defense side, doesn't seem as big, right? It seems small for like the kind of ride they want to do. Like if you look at a ride, for example, like Transformers at Universal.
Oh,
I mean, that thing is freaking massive. And I just feel like, and maybe it's deceiving because we always see it from a distance like this, maybe, but that's a little concerning, right? I mean, I'm expecting a pretty crazy experience. I mean, we waited like 35 years for this ride. So all right. I mean, maybe well, to be fair, I think only 34. But but who's counting? No, but in all seriousness, we waited forever for this thing, and I'm expecting some pretty amazing stuff here. I mean, we were promised like big set pieces and the whole shebang. I don't see a whole really that big of a building. But again, to be fair, it's always from a distance, so it could be deceiving. So
yeah, well, see, the other thing too is kind of like Transformers and then Rise. It kind of has at a certain point when you're riding it, you kind of go, it's almost like an elevator type attraction. It goes up and down multiple levels per. Maybe that's what this is, because we've seen it from different angles from David when luckily it wasn't raining and he could get clear visual, and
Yeah.
even Bricky going from across street looking in, it almost looks like they have a basement level, a first level, a second level, and possibly a third level for that e-ticket. So I'm kind of wondering now, is that how we're going to start off? We're going to start off in the basement level, then work our way up, and then at the end go from 4 to basement level again. I don't know.
It's interesting, right? I don't know either. And this whole thing right here, this like
Yeah,
trellis thing,
yeah,
whatever this is,
it's
like that's
ugly.
not. It is. I was just gonna say thank you, conductor. I appreciate, because I agree with you on that. It is very ugly, and that's actual. Like that's not construction stuff. Like that's gonna look like that when it's done, right? If I'm not mistaken.
For the Stark Flight Labs, yeah, like literally when you look at the concept art, it's going to have like a hard shell roof, but
Right.
on the underneath where you could see it from walking past the Avengers Vault store and the campus building, walking towards these two attractions, you are going to see that for Stark Flight Labs.
Yeah. See, I'm
That's
not
going to be exposed.
not a big fan of that. It reminds me of like old school Epcot or like Videopolis or something. I mean, I don't know.
It,
It's okay, but I,
it looks like Six Flags, the entrance.
yeah, it's not the greatest.
Honest.
No, you're right, dude. Magic Mountain, exactly. You're absolutely right. Magic Mountain has something similar to that. You're 100% right.
Not a lot. It looks like they are putting up more steel. That
Oh,
that one section is a little more curved, a little more complete than it was before. There is the restroom where they're building that new brick wall, the cinder block wall. We're going to take a look at that again. Matter of fact, let's just go to Cars Land now. Look at how empty the streets are at Cars Land
gosh.
at this time. Incredible.
Wow.
There is that brick wall. We actually got another update from Arizona
So
bassist.
this right here, this is awesome. Well, you can leave it, but
Yeah.
this is awesome. So
What-
at least I could see this over the construction wall. At least they're
Yes.
doing something.
Now this is
Hell,
the bathroom, and there's like a new eatery too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't know, but
I thought they said a new
give me
eating
something.
spot. Yeah,
So
at least we got something here, you know. At least we're working with some. Let me see if I can give me
There
one
is that
second.
brick wall. We actually got another update from.
There we go. That's a pretty actually that looks pretty big from this angle at least.
yeah, so I think what they're trying to do, definitely a restroom. And then I think they have to try to rebuild the pathway where it's gonna, connect the two lands, and then they're gonna try to put back a lot of the Avengers theming they had in that area before they ripped it out. They're gonna reconstruct it. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Arizona bassist. He got over the wall. Check it out. And there you go. You can see, I think those are doors for the restroom right there. So that building is the restroom. It's a
Okay.
wall directing guests out of the way, plus a restroom. So we're going to see more theming, I'm sure. They're going to put another, a veneer or some sort of facade around that cinder block wall. There's that photo. And I think we got a second one. And you can see where
yeah.
guests are going to go across the length of that restroom, then hang a hard left into Avengers Infinity Defense. You can see the Avengers A right there over that tractor or whatever the heck that thing is, that lift. So that's a cool shot. So we're still a ways away from this thing being completed and being able to make that connection from Cars Land to Avengers Campus. I can't wait because it's such a drag. When I do these reports, I got to walk up Cars Land, then I got to walk all the way back down Cars Land, then I got to walk up Avengers Campus.
Now, let me ask you this, conductor. Now, I've mentioned this before on the channel, and a lot of people seem to not think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's something to this, and I'm kind of curious what you think. This is going to be a bathroom, right? But we literally have a bathroom right across the way. So are they going to get rid of the other one? I feel like they're building this one to get rid of that one, no?
I think so. I think there's something. I think there's smoke in that area. I think they're planning some, because when you look at that other restroom, was it next to the Spider-Man attraction?
Right. Exactly. It's also butts up right against Hollywoodland. If they ever want to, if they
Yep.
ever want to knock out the animation building or expand Avengers into the rest of Hollywood, you know, I mean that current restroom sits right there, like right in between. You can take out that restroom and then you can expand out. So I'm thinking this is a play for that, and I agree with you. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. But we'll see. And it might not happen immediately, obviously, but I think that they are setting it up, setting the pieces up for the eventuality of that other restroom going away. It just seems
Yeah.
weird. They're just way too close. You
Yeah,
know?
way too close.
And so, you know, I would love to be able to just walk up Cars Land, film this, and then go on through. I guess I wouldn't be doing that because the job will be done. We'll come around the other side
Okay.
once more.
Look
I
at
mean,
that.
it's just pouring.
Okay. So, I mean, okay, I'll say this. It looks a little cooler with the Avengers logo and everything in the foreground. But you're right, though. I didn't even think about that. It looks like the Magic Mountain entry gate.
It does. It honestly does. I kind of feel like they called Cedar Fair or Six Flags and said, "Hey, where'd you get the material to build your entrance gates? We want to put that as our roofing for one of the Avengers attractions we're building."
Yeah, I hope
It's
it looks
ugly.
good. Yeah, I hope it looks better when it's finished. I agree with you, dude. I agree with you. That's why I was asking, because I was like, that's not construction material or that's actual show stuff. And yeah, I'm not a big fan.
It's just pouring and kind of pointless to be looking at construction at this point. Nothing's going to be happening. Looks exactly like we found it last week
Let's see.
from the Dora Milaje stage. Not a lot to see there as well. Looking back in the other direction towards or from the ancient sanctum. Lots of trees covering our view. Not a lot of views to be had there. And then once more, to give a little reference, there's that truss system and how it's extending towards the Avengers headquarters.
And see back there, this right here, back here, right? In the far back, that's Infinity Defense.
I think it is.
Okay.
I mean,
it's big, but
I don't know. It's hard to tell like this, and it's going to be even harder when we actually see. Well, maybe not, because once they start enclosing it, then we'll maybe get a better idea where Stark Flight Labs starts and ends, and then where Infinity Defense starts and ends. So
yeah, maybe we'll get more of a clearer picture here.
Sure.
If we look at the concept art,
Okay,
I believe.
Okay.
Now, see, this is the thing, right?
Yeah.
Let me go back a little bit. Hold on one second, brother. Let me go back a little bit. I'm gonna mute it and I'll pause it right when he gets to that point. Okay. Now that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. From the concept art,
Well,
see, I don't know, but this is showing the Kuka arm thing in the bigger building.
it is. There's another picture that they show like online. You could find it. I think that truss system though, it's gonna be there obviously because we can see it, but then they're gonna have this outer shell for it.
Okay.
And I didn't realize how small the entranceway is gonna be for Infinity Defense and how big the Stark Flight Lab entrance is gonna be.
Right, exactly. Because where the A is Infinity Defense, right?
Yeah.
So you go in here and then hang a right. Like I think this, like, and then all this back here, and then probably some of the building behind here is going to be
Infinity Defense.
Interesting.
The concept art, I believe, that is the blue section there, right in the middle of the frame with the Avengers A on it. We back out. And then there's that's that same covered entrance. That's where you're going to be entering Avengers Infinity Defense. Those are our main stories this week. There's those three projects. There's a few odds and ends I'd like to take care of. As we mentioned last week, a Grizzly River run is going to be going down for routine maintenance. We're hoping that they include the geysers, which what we're seeing here in this clip, while Grizzly is not running, no geysers. There have been no geysers for a little while. First, they were reduced. They weren't quite as strong, and then they turned them off completely. Hopefully things are okay. No news to report on Napa. They should be wrapping this up. I believe I remember hearing or seeing that the reopening was scheduled for January or February, but I heard, I want to say 2 weeks ago, that they were still down to the studs inside. So they have completely gutted the dining area down to the studs, and they were still down to those studs. And they have not yet.
This is concerning to me because how long has Napa Rose been down? We're talking one small restaurant.
I
For
know.
real.
It feels like it's been down for months and months and months. It's crazy.
I think over a year.
Oh, has it been that long? Oh, that's wild.
I think so. I could be totally wrong, but it feels like a little over a year now it's been closed.
That's insane, dude. That is ridiculous.
Rebuilt, or at least they hadn't yet 2 weeks ago when I spoke with somebody. So we may have a little bit of a wait still for Napa. With that, let's take a quick look at the reservation or the refurb calendar coming up. Grizzly River Run, as mentioned, that's going to be closing on January 5th. No known date yet for its reopening. Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind closing on January 5th and will be closed until January 23rd. Incredicoaster, we have a date now. We didn't have a date before, but we do now. Closing on January 5th, reopening on February 5th. So that's a month-long closure.
Oh, and
curious. At first, I thought there was no connection. I thought it was routine maintenance. It's January. It's refurb season.
You know what, though, to be honest with you, this coaster needs maintenance. This coaster needs a paint job.
Oh,
so bad.
Oh, so bad. Like when you're riding it, you can see how bad and black and
rusted out.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then going back to that Napa Rose thing real quick, because I also Googled it. April 2025. That's
when it went down?
That's when it went down. And they are suggesting January the 31st, 2026 is when it's going to open. I'm like,
so you were right, conductor. It's been about a year.
Yeah, 9 months. 9 months. It's like, for God's sakes, one little restaurant.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Wow.
Season, but that's a long time for it to be down, considering it was already down for a while before. But I don't think there's going to be any guest-facing changes to the attraction at this point. Smoke Jumpers has been closing from January 5th to January 10th. Lamplight Lounge will be closed from January 12th and reopening on January 16th.
Okay.
Over at Disneyland, Mark Twain, same. Closing on January 12th, reopening on January 16th. Haunted Mansion, closing on January 12th, reopening on January 22nd. Star Wars, Rise of the Resistance, closing on January 20th. No known date yet. It's at least into February, but the refurb calendar doesn't go that far in advance, so we don't know how long it's going to take. Small World closing on January 26th. I think we might have mentioned last week. The reason why that's closing on January 26th and not after the holiday season is because they don't want it to be closed while they're also closing the Haunted Mansion. They want one of those to be open. And then finally, Sailing Ship Columbia closing on January 26th, reopening on January 30th. That, Fresh Baked, is our weekly construction update. Thank you guys very much for joining us.
And thank you, Dave, for all that you do. Dave has been a staple in our Disney community for, so long. A long time. Yeah, he's a really good dude. We've hung out, we've met him, and he's always super friendly, really nice guy. We react to a lot of his content here on the channel, but big shout out to Dave. Doing the work in the rain like that is not easy. But conductor, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Final thoughts is, as much as it drives me nuts with the slow construction out here at the Disneyland Resort, I can promise you one thing that keeps my smile going is David's construction update videos. It brings just a little shining hope that they actually are going to say what they want to do. So that's the only thing that keeps me going right now is David and Bricky's update construction videos. If it wasn't for those two gentlemen, I don't know where I'd be at.
I completely agree with you. But there is one more person that brings a smile to our face, and that is the one and only, the lovely Miss Mimi Fan. She is a friend of the channel. She is the lovely gal who does our outro for us here on the channel. I highly recommend that you go and follow her on Instagram. She's also on YouTube. I'll be linking all of that information down below. But if you're looking for great food spots in LA or Orange County, or just fun spots in general, Mimi is your girl. She will get you into all the great spots, like this one in particular. So make sure you follow Mimi. She's a friend of the channel, really sweet girl. So check her out 1000%. And Mr. Conductor, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like the one and only Orange Go 55 and so many others as we break down theme park news here on the West Coast, even though it's slower than a turtle, but we still cover it. We still love doing it. And we get to chat involved, and it's a great time. And as I'm counting down the minutes, I mean minutes, till I go to Walt Disney World for my first time, I cannot wait, because my God, I've been counting every single second, the countdown, because I am so ready for it. I cannot even tell you.
I'm telling you, bro, I had a similar feeling in 2023. The lead up was so intense and crazy, like, because it's your first time and it's like it's all new. And now this is the first time you've ever been to a Disney park that's not Disneyland Resort, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that was my first time as well. And that is a crazy, like, multiverse experience, bro. Because you're going through these things and there's like things that look very familiar, but yet they're not. They're like they're off, right? Like Main Street and like Fantasyland and like tomorrow. Like, yeah, they look familiar enough, but they're different enough too. So it like trips you out. But it's fantastic. I think you're gonna have a great time. I'm very curious. When you get back, I want to talk to you about your trip, because I'm very curious as to your park rankings. Now, I think they're going to be a little different than mine. I'm a vibes guy. And so I'm all about Animal Kingdom, because I can walk around that park all day with a beer and not go on a single thing. But, you know, most people are normal. So like you probably won't want to do, you know, you're probably going to want to go on stuff, right? But in all seriousness, I mean, I'm curious to see how that park ranks for you, because you're more of a ride guy than a vibe guy.
Sure.
But that park was spectacular for me. Epcot was amazing. Even Hollywood Studios. I mean, it honestly, because you hear so much crap online about that park. It's the worst thing ever. Da, 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 da. People talk so much smack about Hollywood Studios. I actually had a really good time there. That park exceeded my expectations.
Wow.
So I'm curious to hear your thought. The only park that I was like, was Magic Kingdom, because we got the GOAT right here in California, baby. We got Disneyland, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So, but it's still a cool park, though. Magic Kingdom's a great park, but it's just not Disneyland. So it's hard to, you know, compare.
Justify it.
Yeah. The other thing too, and I'm sure you have it planned, but have a couple of resort days where you can just go to the resorts and all that stuff.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and check
For
those.
sure.
Yep. But anyway, Conductor, thank you so much for joining this episode of OG55. Thank you, Dave from Fresh Baked, for doing another great video that we are reacting to today. Comment down below, everybody, with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today. Eastern Gateway, Infinity Defense. I still think that sounds like a deodorant, but that's okay. And much, much more. Thank you for watching this episode of OG55. We're going to let Mimi close us out.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a member today.